it's really hard to hire engineers and data scientists as you're running your business, right? That's where PriceLabs comes in as a partner. 7 years ago, why would someone trust us to adjust their prices? So yeah, the biggest competition was like, who are you? What is the value of your time? How much time do you how do you value your time? In the time you have 4 coffees less and let us make you more money by using PriceLabs. PriceLabs Superhot connection is free to try for 30 days. Give it a shot. Give it a shot and see if it works for you.
Bonjour à tous, donc on se retrouve dans un nouvel épisode et je me trouve avec Richie. Hello Richie, so you are the founder, the co-founder and president of PriceLabs. So I'm really glad to see you here during this interview. So for people who don't know you, if you can introduce yourself, so who is Richie, what is PriceLabs, if you can...
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you so much, Matt, for having us here. And I know I think we'll talk about PriceLabs Superhot, but thank you so much for building to our API and building to this ecosystem. Coming to PriceLabs and myself, PriceLabs is a dynamic pricing software for vacation rentals, Airbnb, service departments, right? Dynamic pricing, if you're not aware, it's basically adjusting rates based on supply and demand. And we've all seen it. We've seen it when airlines, we try to book a flight and the flight prices change every day, or when you try to book an Uber or something and the prices of Uber is different, right? Essentially, that's what dynamic pricing is. Airlines can deploy thousands of engineers and data scientists to be able to do this. The same principles apply in vacation rental or short-term rental, except it's really hard to hire engineers and data scientists as you're running your business, right? That's where PriceLabs comes in as a partner, and we help you adjust your rates based on supply and demand. So that's a little bit in a nutshell. We started this journey about 7 years ago. Fast forward to today, we have a few different products. We have customers in about 100 countries and a little over 100,000 properties that we have priced. Our team is spread out in 66 countries between France, Spain, Portugal, US, India, Brazil. So it's really heartwarming for me to be at this place where we have grown so much.
Okay, perfect. So I see that, yes, PriceLabs is growing, exploding. If we go back, I'm interested about the entrepreneur story. So if you go back 7 years ago, how did you find the idea to create, because 7 years, it's a very long time ago. So how did you have in mind, okay, I will create this idea of PriceLabs? How did it come?
So I think I really envy entrepreneurs who are really smart, where they exactly know what is it that they're going to work on and everything. For me, it was kind of happened to hit on an idea and have the right kind of people around me to be able to do this, right? Firstly, we have 3 co-founders in PriceLabs, Anurag Verma and Sana Hassan and myself. I was living in Chicago and going to school 7 years ago, right? By school, I mean college, right? And if you remember 7 years ago, 2014 and 2013, right? Airbnb had just taken off and it was a big thing to do, right? And I was in college, I had a spare room. And so I started putting that spare room on Airbnb, right? Now, I do come from engineering background. And so as I was putting that on Airbnb, I was like, I'm charging flat, but there are supply demand dynamics that exist. Because I was in this city where college town, I don't know if you have that in France, but there's not much in the town other than the college, right? And because there's college, whenever there's the graduation weekend or whenever there's any kind of special thing in college, the town cannot take that many people, right? Even if there's a big sporting event, the town cannot take that many people, right? And so I was like, it makes sense to me. It's a graduation weekend. I should be increasing my rates. But I was charging flat. Everyone around me was charging flat. Now, Anurag, who's one of my co-founders, he and I had gone to undergrad together in India, and he was doing pricing for United Airlines. He'd done his master's and his PhD and had moved on to do pricing for United Airlines, which is what he was doing, dynamic pricing there. So I went to him and I said, hey, can you help me make more money? Small problem for myself, right? So he said, yeah, sure, why not? We can so he and I sat together and we wrote some initial part of what we're going to do. But then we said, to be able to do this, we need data. We need a lot of data, right? So every day today, we get millions of rows of data from around the world to be able to crunch that into what that one single number looks like, right? So then I was speaking to some friends and we got connected to Sana, who's a third co-founder. And he said, yeah, I can very easily get you this data and get it up and running.
Right? Sana was in France.
No, Sana was not in France. Sana was in Chicago also.
Chicago, okay.
All three of us were in Chicago. And so that's kind of how we got started. And then we created something for my house. And then we said, maybe others need it, right? And we're all engineers. So we were like, we get data. And even for us, it was very complicated. We were like, maybe others need it. And so believe it or not, for the first 2.5 years, it was just a free to use product. Anyone could use it. It was available online. And yeah. And then 2.5 years later, people were asking us a bunch of support questions, asking us for changes, blah, blah. So we started charging, and then here we are today.
Okay.
And purely fluke.
Okay, I see. And did you, because I understand that the pricing is dynamic pricing is also applied for the hotels. Did you have in mind maybe to move to the hotels, or you were at the beginning focus 100% on the vacation rentals? Or
so because we didn't come from we discovered the space. It wasn't a thing that we were really trying to do, right? And so we discovered vacation rentals. And when I discovered vacation rentals, I went out and searched, can I do this for hotels as well, right? And there were some softwares that existed for hotels. Today, I would say they're not as evolved as PriceLabs is, right? But there's some solutions that existed for hotels. But vacation rental is difficult. It's different, right? You as a PMS owner, you also understand that vacation rental PMS is different from a hotel PMS, right? And any vacation rental business person understands that it's different, right? So there were players that existed in hotel side. At the time, there was no one on vacation rentals, so we built something for vacation rentals, right? Now we do cater to some hotel customers, but not a whole lot, right? Primarily, it's still the independent units, which is vacation rentals, Airbnbs, villas, chalets, whatever you call them.
And at the beginning, was there already some competition, other tools maybe, or because I remember 7 years ago, the channel manager, etc., it was not, people use it, but it was not like right now, where now everyone go on YouTube, you find something. But 7 years ago, I think it was
not so much. If you go to PriceLabs' Twitter account from 7 years ago, you'd see every individual person, we'd search who's on Twitter, who's talking about Airbnb, and we'd ping them and we'd talk to them, right? Or we'd find on YouTube wasn't even a big thing back then. I want to say, maybe, I don't even remember it, right? But we try to find anyone who was talking about Airbnb and we try to talk to them. Not a lot of competition back then, but not a lot of users either. People were scared. People were like, why would we were a no-name company, right? Adjusting, today we have a bunch of customers. If you go on Facebook forums or wherever, you find PriceLabs, right? But 7 years ago, why would someone trust us to adjust their prices, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the biggest competition was who are you? Kind of competition.
Okay. And did you have maybe some challenges during your journey when you created PriceLabs? Did you encounter some challenges?
Yeah. The biggest challenge for us was we actually could not launch a product because we were in US and we were not citizens, so we couldn't launch a product, right? So for first few years, which is why it was a free to use product, because we couldn't launch a company. And so a couple of years after, I moved out of US, and that's when we could actually like really launch a company and have the product live.
And you are founded company, or it's I don't, it's a bootstrap, or it's you are founded, or
bootstrap. It's fully bootstrapped. Really believe in it. Before this, I've run a funded company, right? And at Bootstrap, I just feel we're a lot more focused in terms of what we really want to do, and also can care a lot more about our customers than just focus on growth.
So good to see and to know about your let's say entrepreneur journey. And now if we go back to PriceLabs, someone a beginner would ask you, okay, but why should I, because I can go on Airbnb, I can check some my competitors. According to you, because I imagine you have a lot of data, what are the return of investment to, let's say, use a tool like PriceLabs to monitor their price? What would you say to someone who is hesitating? If you
see, I'll start with two things, right? One, either someone's spending a lot of time doing their pricing, or two, they're not adjusting their prices a whole lot, right? So let's first start with someone who's not adjusting their prices. You're not adjusting your prices, you're losing out. If you start using a tool like PriceLabs, you will automatically see those gains. And a lot of these users have seen gains like 20, 30, 40%. I have a professional professional property manager with 100 plus properties. They saw like 100% revenue gains, right? That's how much they were missing out. So if you're not doing anything on your pricing, you'd see like significant gains, because you're missing out on high demand days, and also on days when the occupancy is low, you probably are not dropping your rates, right, to get a booking. Second thing, if you're spending a lot of time doing pricing, right, you have to factor into one, it could still be that you're missing out on the dynamism, because every day, every 24 hours, we'll calculate what's happening in the market. What do you want to do as a strategy? And we'd come up with a price point every 24 hours, right? So one, you might be missing out on the dynamism. Number two, what you're doing, if you're manually adjusting rates, it might be very error prone. And number three, what is the value of your time? How much time do you how do you value your time? If you're spending hours doing it, we don't charge a lot, right? We charge $20 a month for one property, right? $20 in France is probably 4 Starbucks coffees or something like that. Maybe less than that, right? So like in the time you have 4 coffees less, and let us make you more money by using PriceLabs. That's what I would say. So those are two ways, two kind of people that I encounter.
Okay. And now if we go deep in PriceLabs, I know that there is the pricing tools. There is several tools. If you can describe, maybe share your screen. I don't know
Let me.
What is PriceLabs?
So I've made a little bit of a presentation, if that's okay. I've already discussed this. 2014 is when we started. We're around the world. We have 3 products, like Matt was saying: dynamic pricing, which is automatically adjusting your rates; market dashboards, which is you can see all kinds of market data. So if you're more that manually, I want to do certain things or something, you can look at it on market dashboards. And portfolio analytics is basically your business intelligence, where you can see what's happening with your bookings, what kind of data are you seeing, what kind of KPIs, what kind of trends, and all of that, right? So those are the 3 kind of products that we have. And then for Airbnbs, vacation rentals, etc., that I've already covered, right? What does that mean? Dynamic pricing, automated prices; portfolio analytics, real-time KPIs; market dashboards, it's fully automated market dashboard, so that you can track your locations data, right? Our most popular is dynamic pricing. It has a 30-day free trial. Portfolio analytics, it's free for next 12 months. And then market dashboards, once again, it's a 30-day free trial when you connect your listings, right? So there is absolutely, if you're listening to this and if you're wondering, maybe PriceLabs is not for me, there is zero reason for you to not connect your properties and just see what is it that we recommend. It's free. It's free, nothing. You don't need to add your credit card. You don't need to do anything. We will not change your rates till you tell us to. Just come and see. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Right?
Yes, because most of the people, if you go back to the previous slides, most of the people I discuss, they think that PriceLabs is just, let's say, only dynamic pricing, which is the most popular. But even me, at the beginning, I was not aware of this portfolio analytics, market dashboard, etc. So now it's very interesting to see that what you can do with all of this data and what you can create. It's very
absolutely. And so to be completely honest, like dynamic pricing is what we've been building for the last 7 years. Market dashboards is we started building it in 2020 when COVID happened, right? A lot of people were unsure about what's happening to their market, what's happening to like, are other people getting bookings? Am I the only one who's not getting bookings? Am I the only one who's getting cancellations? Are other people getting cancellations? What dates are other people getting cancellations for, right? How much money did everyone else in the market make last month? How much did I make? So all of those questions really started coming in as COVID hit, right? And so that's when we productionized the market dashboards, right? So market dashboard has been in the market for a little under a year now, right? So that's why you might not have heard of it as much. Portfolio analytics is even newer. It's been in the market for less than a little more than 7 months now, right? And portfolio analytics, then once we had dynamic pricing and market dashboards, people were still interested in, okay, but what's happening? What kind of, what can I see from my data? Am I making more money, less money? How does that compare to last year? All of that. And portfolio analytics allows you to do that very, very easily. So you've not heard of the other two, maybe because they're new.
And how did you, from which source did you get all this data? How are you organized for this?
Yeah. So we get all of Airbnb data, right? We get most of VRBO data. There are some places where we don't, but generally most of VRBO data, right? And then we get hotel data from booking.com. So those are the 3 data sets that we look at when we look at pricing, right? Then we have our own database for events, for holidays that we combine together to come up with pricing or market dashboards.
Okay, and so it's also working in France, not only in US for the events, etc. It's also working
around the world. Yeah, works around the world, right? Both like, and so I don't know if I have a slide here. Let me just say this, right? This one. So if I think about dynamic pricing, it's basically adjusting your rates and availability frequently on various factors, right? Factors are like market demand, seasonality, day of week, events, lead time, listing performance, blah, blah, right? All of this work around the world, right? We get market demand from Airbnbs, VRBOs, booking.coms, right? We get seasonality, looking at historical data and looking at some hotel data, we get seasonality. Day of week, we get from, again, from the Airbnb VRBO data, what does future look like? Events, we do it in 2 different ways. One, we have calendared events that we store in our database, right? And there might be some calendared events that we might be missing. If you just send us a quick ping, our data science team will look at it and add them, right? Second is events that are like not calendared events, but something that gets announced and it's like a like an event that, like, it's not a holiday, it's an event, right? In which case we look at availability and how the market availability is shifting. If we suddenly start seeing a lot of bookings happening for a day, we'd start increasing prices for that day. Yeah. Lead time, fairly obvious, because your property, if it's not booked, if today is the stay date and if it's not booked, you're not going to make any money. So you may want to discount today, right? But if it is a year out, you don't want to undersell that property because it could get booked at a higher price. So you want to have higher revenues for that property, right? Listing performance, again, obvious. If your property is doing really well, lots of reviews, good superhost status, booking fairly often, you may want to increase your rates. If it's not doing well at all compared to the market, you may want to decrease rates, right? So all of that happens every 24 hours automatically, right? And refreshes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super.
But actually, I'm going to skip that. And that's what your calendar then starts to look like, where you start seeing different prices for different dates, right? Some people get nervous by this because they're like, hey, but my customer will ask me why are my prices different, right? Two things. One, if they're booking on, say, Airbnb or something, they actually don't see if the prices are different, right? Airbnb does not show prices for each day. It just shows the final price. Number two, even if they ask them, you can simply say, hey, it's supply and demand. That's kind of how, like, when the customer is coming to your house, they're probably booking a flight. If they're booking a flight, they're watching the same thing, right? But your calendar would start to look a little bit like this. How does that all work? We start with a base price, which is your average price for the property, and then like I said, layer on a bunch of factors so that that flat price starts to look a little bit like this spiky heartbeat, right? Which is very, very helpful as a customer, because some days you can maybe make 40% more, and some days you're going to be under your base price, but that might mean that you can get a booking for that day rather than just staying empty. Yeah. And here's another way to think about this, right? This is what your price then starts to look like, right? I mean, I've taken another snapshot where on the top you're seeing prices, at the bottom you're seeing what the market occupancy looks like. Focus on the top, you're seeing prices vary. The black line is what today's prices are. The dotted line is what yesterday's prices were. So in some cases, the prices will go up. Some places, the prices will go down based on, again, what's happening in the market. And then there is this notion that comes from hotel industry, which is I should be at certain percentile of the market, which is, hey, I should be at the 50th percentile of the market. But that's such a wrong notion in vacation rental industry, because in hotel industry, there are still professional revenue managers who are pricing every day and who are doing a very good job of pricing, right? And so if they price high and you're at 50th percentile, your prices will go up, right? But in vacation rental industry, our estimates are somewhere between 3 to 5% of the properties at max adjust their rates frequently, right? So the market is not adjusting rates. So you don't want to miss out because someone else is not adjusting rates, right? What you're seeing here is that the blue line is, say, the 50th to 75th percentile of the market, and the orange line is 25th to 50th percentile of the market, right? Now, on some days, you want to be higher than what everyone else is charging, right? But on some days, say it's in this early Jan period, you may want to be lower than what everyone else is charging because there is not going to be enough demand, right? So that's kind of what dynamic pricing starts to look like. When you're manually doing this, right? I can go on Airbnb, I can go on VRBO, I can check, right? You're going to check the average price. What you're going to miss out on is, hey, this date, I should actually be lower because there's going to be lesser demand. On this date, I should be higher because it's going to be a higher demand day. And most of us get higher demand days, actually, to be honest, right? Because I know holidays, you know holidays, but it's the lower demand days that often get you, because you're not going to get a booking if you keep your prices too high on those often days, right? On those low demand days. And then one final thing, Matt, is pricing is one side of it, and minimum stays is the other side of it, right? Which is being able to block your calendar for certain dates and say, like, I don't want to allow any booking less than 3 nights outside of 45 days. And outside of 3 months, 90 days, I want a 7-day booking, right? Because I don't really want to book my far out calendar with very short booking. But then as I come in closer, if it's last 2 weeks, I'm okay with taking a 2-day booking, right? And then this last thing, which is the often gap filler right here, is a very important thing. You get, say you get a 7-day booking, you get a 3-day gap, and you get a 7-day booking. And if you have a 7-day minimum stay, that 3-day gap is not bookable. PriceLabs will automatically go in and adjust the restriction on that so that you can adjust all of those rates.
Okay. So
Make sense?
if I summarize, you can put a minimum stay for weekdays or weekends, and then according to the how far let's say the date is, you can adjust. PriceLabs will adjust. For example, let's say in 90 days, I don't want to have 1 night or 2 nights or 3 nights. I want 7 nights. And you can put some rules and adjust the minimum night according to it. Is it this?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you heard it here first. We are also adding some intelligence to this so that it will automatically tell you it's coming. It's not now. It's coming in a few months' time. We'll tell you, hey, maybe it's time to increase your minimum stay restriction.
Okay, and this is by default, or we need to configure it on PriceLabs?
You need to configure this. You need to configure this.
Okay. For this part, for the minimum, etc., it's off. It's off by default, and we have to customize it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we make it easy. Every day there are 3 webinars that happen, right? If you're in APAC, there is an APAC webinar. If you're in Europe, there's a European webinar. If you're in US, there's a US webinar. And I think there is a French webinar once a week. We have a bunch of videos on YouTube and webinar recordings that walk you through how to set up PriceLabs.
Okay. And maybe do we have some PriceLabs consultant who can configure it for the user according to their needs, or?
We do. I have some in US. I'll check back if there are any in France, but I'm sure there are.
Okay.
Yeah. And then finally, once you've done all the setup, PriceLabs to Superhot and Superhot to whatever channel Superhot connects to.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so that's in a nutshell. I walked through a bunch of stuff, but in a nutshell, coming back, market dashboards, dynamic pricing, portfolio analytics. It's 30 days, no matter what, you don't pay anything to PriceLabs, right? If you try dynamic pricing. And again, you don't have to actually even adjust rates. If you're on Superhot, we love Superhot. I think like you're one of the fastest growth PMSs right now in so far, because we have quite a few users connected already, and we've been out for we're still in beta.
Yes, they were waiting. They were like, where is PriceLabs? Where is PriceLabs? We want it with Superhot. So on our side, we was like, no, we have to do it. So I contact you, and it was very fast. And I was happy to be part of your new integration, because most of the channel are with the old one, and you created a new API. And we are one of the first ones.
Yeah, you're one of the first ones. You're actually you're actually one of the first ones. So that's amazing. But I mean, the integration so far been smooth, no issues so far. People are liking using it. So yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, and if you're I don't know Matt, if you can give maybe 30 seconds about Superhot as well, if someone from PriceLabs is listening and they're interested in Superhot.
Yes, sure. So Superhot, so we are let's say a channel manager, a PMS, but we are more than that, because we help vacation rentals owner to help them to increase their booking, to automate, to be independent from the platform by creating their own website. And we are providing, in addition to our tools, which is Superhot, we are providing some coaching. We are helping, so with our methodology, people went from, I don't have a lot of bookings, it takes me a lot of time to, yes, I'm fully booked, my income is increased, and I spend less time. So we explain them how to go there, and we provide a coach for each member in order to help them to go from here to the destination. So that's the idea of Superhot.
Very cool, very cool. I did not realize that you guys also had this academy or like just that professional help.
Coaching program in order to help people, in order to really provide results. Because I know that the tools is good, but if you can help people with some coach and someone who is telling you, because the vacation rentals, it can be stressful, time consuming, etc. So it's important for people who want to reach their goal quickly to have a coach in order to reach their goal.
Very cool, very cool. So I covered that in a bit, right? I can go into the product itself, but I think it's better off for the product. Sign up for one of our webinars. We'll leave our webinar links in any communication that goes out, or even in the YouTube channel where this gets posted. But sign up for one of our webinars, and then we talk structured through how to set up PriceLabs, and yeah, go from there.
Yes, I will put all the links in the description. And what are the next steps then for PriceLabs? What are the next steps? What do you plan? What is your vision?
What are we doing? We are actually, there are a bunch of things that are happening in parallel, right? One, you'd see a very big UI update that's coming to PriceLabs, right? We've been known for being one of the best pricing solutions, lots of data scientists, engineers, blah, 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 right? And one of our shortcomings was that we were not necessarily the prettiest solution to look at, right? And that's changing in about 2 weeks' time, which is big for us, like big for us. So if I give you a quick sneak peek, saw it first on Superhot, is this is what PriceLabs looks like today, right? This is what PriceLabs of in 2 weeks' time would start to look like, a lot more cleaner. If you look at this, the carded layout, and compare it to this, a lot cleaner. If you do customization in PriceLabs today, it is difficult. It feels difficult more than it is because of how it's laid out. In 2 weeks' time, and we can probably start doing beta as early as next week, but you'd start seeing a more cleaner layout, a more organized layout for you to understand how to do various stay restrictions and everything, right? We're very, very excited about what's coming up in 2 weeks' time. So that's fundamentally changing how, and you built a software, Matt, so I probably you understand this, but we had written a lot of code for the last 7 years, and to be able to refactor, to change, to be able to do this,
it's with the regressions, etc.
Yeah, it's been a little bit stressful, but so that's a big one, right? There is a lot of intelligence and nudges that is going to come in the course of next 6 to 9 months, where we made pricing easy, right? But there are still a lot of manual things that people do, and it's going to become a lot more automated in terms of nudges, in terms of intelligence, in terms of being able to tell things, right? And then we're just growing our team. We're now a 30 people team, and I think by the end of this year we're going to be about 45 or 50, which is crazy for us to think about, given that we were 2 years ago we were just 5 people.
So it's growing very fast.
It's growing very fast. So yeah, so lots of very, very exciting things. UI upgrade, a lot of intelligence that's coming, and then we are growing, which helps us do a lot of intelligent things fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was very nice to discuss with you, to see your story, to have some details about PriceLabs, also some beta of your, not the beta, but the early to see the early design. So it was very nice to see you. So I will let you the last word for this interview.
My last word, really, like I said, I'm very, very thankful to you, Matt, for taking this initiative and working with us in that initial API integration. I know the initial phase was a little bit rough when we were trying to figure it out, right? But now we have so many people connected, which is amazing. And yeah, I love to see where Superhot goes and see more and more people come to Superhot, come to your coaching, come to your academy, become successful. And a lot of us need that, right? A lot of vacation rental managers, Airbnb owners need that coming out of COVID, right? Last year and a half has been difficult, right? And it's been a little bit of a reset for a lot of people. And so like it's amazing for me personally to know that you do this coaching so that I can actually share it with some people that we come across as well, right? But yeah, I'm super excited about our integration, about our next steps. I've said this a few times in this call already, but PriceLabs Superhot connection is free to try for 30 days. Give it a shot. Give it a shot and see if it works for you, right?
Yes, exactly. So if you want to increase your rate, your price, and do it without spending a lot of time, you can try PriceLabs. I know that there is a free trial. You connect it to Superhot, and then you will see it. So I'm very happy for this. And just a quick question, because you told me about the COVID, etc. So sorry, I have a lot of questions. So the last question will be, because I know that you have a lot of data. So I imagine that when there was the COVID, and since you have data all over the world, what are your insights? What did you see something about the rentals, the occupancy? Did you get some insights from because you have a lot of data on your side?
So one thing that obviously happened is US vacation rental market just had a massive boom with COVID, right? Like US vacation rental made a lot of money with COVID. Right?
Because you mean that in US, it's not collapsing, it's growing, and there are a lot of people who are doing vacation rental in US.
Exactly. Because US is a very big market, and there's a lot of domestic travel that can happen, right? And people were just raring to travel. They really wanted to travel, right? So as soon as they could travel within US, they started doing 7-day, 30-day, whatever vacations, right? And really, like, it got really busy. Some people made a lot of money, right? Europe has been a little bit of a hit and miss, especially in the cities in Europe, right? Vacation destinations still in summer have done okay, right? But I think once various countries come out of lockdown and all of us are getting vaccinated now, you have your 2 doses, I'll get my 2nd dose in a week's time. I think another couple of months and then people would be ready to travel, right? Americans want to come to Europe. They haven't come to Europe in 2 years' time. They are really looking to travel. People from India, from China are really looking to travel, right? We love going to Europe, right? And so there's going to be an increase in demand, right? More than what you've potentially seen before. And it could even be in months that you've not seen before, right? For example, winter months, few people travel to France maybe, right? But it's entirely possible if everyone's fully vaccinated and December the markets open up, I can guarantee you, like, a lot of people will travel to France, right? So it's been a little bit of a difficult year, but be optimistic. It's happening, right? It's happening. Keep your rates at the right levels. Watch the news very, very carefully. And like UK, when they decided to open the market, suddenly they had so many bookings come in, right? So it's going to happen. It's going to happen here soon.
Okay, perfect. So let's do it. So if you want to test PriceLabs, I will put a link in the description. Feel free to contact me, to contact Richie, etc. So I will put the links to subscribe. And thanks a lot for this interview. And it was a great pleasure to discover the journey. And I wish you the best, and we'll keep in touch for the future.